In World War II, he is an island nation with a strong economy, but lack of resources to survive and fight. Every week, this island nation has to import nearly 1 million tons of resources and raw materials from the United States and colonies like Canada, India, Malaysia, Nazi Germany, his main rival in Europe during World War II. Understand that just need to cut off your import line is that they will force this island nation to starve and surrender. The Battle of the Atlantic took place partly because he needs to import, and virtue then try to sabotage this activity of yours. The Allies believed that wanted to achieve the goal of attacking Germany must first defeat the German Navy. Initial clash phase from September 1939 to May 1940. 1939 German Navy is not strong enough to fight against the naval force armed with the British Navy. So they are forced to use strategy, attack enemy merchant ships by warship, armed merchant ships, submarines, and bombers. When World War II broke out, the German Navy was present in the Atlantic with a handful of submarines and battleships, pocket or ironclad warship. March 9, 1939. 8 hours after he declared war on Dukai, the Germans decided to attack enemy ships before submarine U-30 commanded by Captain Fitz-Julius Lamb launched 2 torpedoes and caused his cruise ship SS Etnia to sink. Despite the command not to sink, passenger train from Adolf Hitler, but because Captain Lempf mistook it for his weapons carrier. So 54 Canadian citizens and 28 American citizens died after the ship sank. During the early war, the German submarine fleet had only 5 or 7 ships. Most are small, so have short range. Often have to disperse because of the large battlefield, should only be used for dropping mines and patrol along the coast. The British also tried to use the Navy and Air Force surround the German army, but does not cause any effect significant to German shipbuilding industry. The British Navy reintroduced convoy tactics, old from World War I, to fight against German submarines. Winston Churchill in 1900 BA9 is the British Minister of the Navy. Want that the escort ships must actively engage with German submarines rather than fight back when surrounded. The British Navy has drawn up a plan to counter German submarine by combat squadrons from fleet aircraft carriers to hunt down and destroy this force. But that plan was quickly foiled because German submarines were small and dived very quickly. So it is very difficult to detect from the plane. And even if it is detected, then the weapons equipped on the plane at this time also not strong enough to destroy them. September 14, 1939. Royal Navy aircraft carrier HMS Acroyle almost sunk when attacked by a 9-ton submarine. Fortunately, the submarine's magnetic torpedo, Nazi Germany's BA9, both explode early before approaching the British naval aircraft carrier. The German-built BA9 man-boat. Immediately after that, the escort ships followed the aircraft carrier of the British Navy, sunk with a series of 28 anti-submarine bombs. This is the first U-boot from Germany destroyed in war. A month after the Nazi submarine U-47, commanded by the movie captain, infiltrated the base, British naval Scarp Flow in Scotland. Here, Captain Prince's ship sank the battleship SMS Royal Oak is at anchor and returned to Vin Port to buy saffron ham and bang leader Jackson, Germany safely. After this daring raid, Commander Prince awarded the title of Hero Soldier by the Nazis and 10 first-class suicide medals. In the South Atlantic in just 3 months, German cruiser Crasby hit only a small number of ships, has a total weight of more than 50,000 tons, and caused a lot of damage to the Allies. The British Navy has launched an operation relentlessly hunt for this ship. Meanwhile, the Dutchland, a sister to the Crafty, also achieved many successes in the North Atlantic. By mid-December 1939, the Crasby was then sunk by a small British naval force, including the York-class heavy cruiser HMS Exciter, along with 2 Linder-class light cruisers, is HMNJS Achilles and HMS Ajax attack. At the mouth of the Rio de la Plata, Argentina and Uruguay border. After a day of fighting, the Crosby was badly damaged, but it luckily escaped to a neutral port, Montevideo, in the capital of Uruguay, and then scuttled itself immediately afterwards to avoid local authorities could repossess the ship under the maritime laws of the time. After a series of initial clashes, Atlantic battlefield calmed down for a while. German Navy Admiral Dunisch also increased its submarine force. Put all the U-boats you have out to sea. This plan is in trouble because German submarines were too small, so often have to return to base to get more fuel and torpedoes after several hours of fighting. Besides, cold weather in the late 1900s hit the British Isles, also caused many German submarines to be stuck in ice. To avoid that situation, the Germans had to wait until spring 1940. Hitler planned to attack the Nordic countries, summon warships and submarines operating in the southwest Atlantic, withdraw to the North Sea to begin the Cotton Video campaign. On April 1940, in the early months of 1940, warships, the bulk of the German Navy, was concentrated on the battlefield. Northern Europe, so hardly any present in the Atlantic. In addition to the Crasby cruiser that has set many records, but was shot down and had to self-destruct to avoid falling into the hands of the Uruguayan government. After the victory at Navy, the German Navy continuously sent large warships out to the Atlantic, began attacks on Allied merchant shipping. The outbreak of submarine warfare 1940 and 1941. Nazi Germany invaded Norway in April 1940. Then 2 months later quickly occupied the Netherlands, Belgium and France. Fascist Italy joined the Axis powers in June. This change affects the battlefield situation, Atlantic, as follows. Britain lost its powerful ally, the French Navy. Only a small number of French warships escaped, and according to the Free Law Force of General Charles the Gold to England, the British Navy had to disperse to fight the Navy and the Italian Frogman naval forces, very strong and numerous in the Mediterranean. From the bases in Brest-le-Hung, La Pallice and La Hostan in France, new posts can easily hit the Atlantic, and the operating range also increases higher. Before that, the submarine had to return for fuel and supplies from German bases in the North Sea. His fleet was gradually depleted. Ships were towed to and from all battlefields, like Norway, the French Netherlands, and especially the escape from Denmark. When the Germans threatened to attack him, British warships lay defensively in the Inlet Sea to let the German Air Force attack. So many. 7 destroyers lost in the Battle of Norway, 6 in the infamous battle, and 10 in the bombing of the Luftwaffe Air Force on the Sea of Bamboo Shoots, from April to July 1940. British Navy lost 24 destroyers, Canada lost 1. Several others were damaged and forced to abandon ship, stay in port for repairs. After completing the campaign, invade Western European countries. Command of the inhalation, the submarines have been returned to their old jobs, is to bombard British supply convoys. Fortunately for England, the merchant fleets of Norway and the Netherlands, under his control. Although these countries were occupied by Germany, he also annexed Iceland and the island of Faroe to prevent Germany from taking over as a naval base. May 1940, Winston Churchill took office as British Prime Minister. He immediately wrote a letter to his former colony, the United States, asking for help. President Franklin Roosevelt decided to help him in the Atlantic. Mr. Cho unleashed back 50 expired destroyers and was removed from service due to the U.S. Naval Reduction Program after the Washington Naval Treaty, on condition that he lease it to the United States for 99 years. Bases in New Zealand, Bermuda and the West Indies. No other choice. Churchill had to agree. Atlantic battlefield. At that time, there was also the presence of Italian submarines. From August 1940, the Italian Navy sent submarines to the capital base to strengthen the Axis forces to attack the British Navy. Italian submarine, specially designed for warm seas and Mediterranean agriculture, but not suitable for the battlefield. The Atlantic Ocean is cold and deep. Italian submarines are considered inferior to their replacements, 7 of Germany by technology. However, Italian submarines also achieved remarkable results. BA-7 Italian submarines fired only 109 Allied warships and merchant ships. Total fleet equivalent to more than 593,800 tons. The Italian Navy also operates a small submarine, human torpedo, with frogmen, shake the British Navy at Jeep Runner. Although the Italian Navy has achieved many successes, the German Navy Admiral Dunisch still despises this force. Mr. Cho said that Italian soldiers lack discipline and falter easily when encountering the enemy, inactive according to the wolf hunting strategy, not keeping close contact with the German Navy. Soon, ship force implied to cease operations in conjunction with German forces in the Atlantic. By September 1945, 10 American destroyers had arrived in England. The Royal Navy had to repair these ships, from engines to weapons. Because they are old ships, should often encounter technical errors, and some spare parts and accessories that the brother does not have. In addition, they also increase anti-submarine capabilities for them by installing additional equipment, submarine detection, new generation ASTIC at the bow, lengthen the stern bomb rails. Many months later, these destroyers are new enough to go into battle. His command at that time discovered an important point for military operations: merchant escort. They found that large merchant convoys had few escorts. Easier to avoid detection than small merchant ships, but with large escort. The Germans decoded many secret maritime signals. You should be able to predict the journey of the merchant ships and lie in wait for an ambush. September 21, 1940. Train HX-72. 42 cargo ships were attacked by 4 robots. In 2 days of fighting, 11 merchant ships were sunk. 2 ships were damaged. By October, train SC-7 suffered 59% damage to its supplies. Attack on convoy HX-79 in the following days is proof of the effectiveness of German submarines beyond the defense capabilities of the British Navy. The Allied fleet consisted of 2 destroyers, 4 frigates and 3 tugboats. And an old minesweeper was attacked and lost 7¼ of its force, while 01 boot was injured. Meanwhile, the British Navy was in dire straits. The German Navy then went through a period of prosperity. The captains of the submarines, both honored as a combat hero, take turns making achievements: bombardment of Allied ships. From June to October 1940, a total of 270 large and small Allied ships were sunk. To detect his escorted merchant convoys on the open sea, the German Navy had to use long-range reconnaissance aircraft. However, because there are many chains conflict between the German Navy and Air Force, so the captains of the ship, like Boss, often have to hunt and attack targets themselves. May 11, 1940. The British supply train HX-8 was shared by the Admiral, a sister ship to the Admiral Grabby, blocking fire. 5 sank on the spot, and many others were destroyed, scattering the formation. The British had to sacrifice the HMS Javas to fly, and thanks to the darkness falling, the remaining ships escaped. After this loss, the British Navy ordered the suspension of supply convoys, and dispatched RA warships to hunt down the divided ships, but nowhere to be seen. December 1940, Chelsea reappears in the Indian Ocean. Until December 25, German cruiser at Morro Hippo intercepted the 5-year supply train, but was hit by 2 cruisers, HMS Bowick and HMS Bonaventure. Returned fire very fiercely, causing the Hippo to be severely damaged and forced to flee. December 2, 1941, German cruiser Hippo continued to block the SLS-64 group, including 19 ships, and sank 7. 1/1941. 2 heavy warships are San Harvest and Gazino. Open campaign. Berlin out to the North Atlantic. Intercept trains from Canada to England. HX trains 106, HX-111 and SN-67 blocked hit. But fortunately the escort ship arrived in time, should only be damaged 7 small. In 2 months, 2 sunburst and guys. It has sailed 18,000 miles of sea. Sank 2 of his ships, although still nominally neutral. But the United States, increasingly involved in the dispute between U and Germany. April 1941, President Russell has extended the security zone across America to Iceland. This island was previously occupied by him to create a defensive base before the German occupation of Denmark. U.S. military. He was encouraged by RA to station troops on this island to support the British Army. When the United States officially declared war on Germany, the navy of the 3 countries is British, Canada and the United States have joined forces to form an ocean escort force. Allied counteroffensive period from March to May 1941. After the defeats in 1940, the British Navy was forced to reorganize its strategy against the German Navy. One of the important changes is to set up escort fleets regularly for freight trains, coordinate the formation more effectively, and try to protect the lives of sailors with a style that is not useless. Retired U.S. destroyers now also started to participate, British and Canadian warships, in escorts. In addition, RA also has support from trains. Small Battle of the Free French Forces, Netherlands, Norway and Poland. Staged military exercises to gain combat experience from the command level to the soldiers. February 1941. The British Navy headquarters has left its base in Plymouth to Liverpool for easy communication operations in the Atlantic. The British Air Force also began to be used for military purposes. Escort and attack, counterattack on German forces. On the night of March 7 to the morning of March 8, 1941. Famous Captain. German film and his missing U-47. 2 weeks later, a new post team raided the HX freight train 112, but was repelled by the escort team. The U-100 was detected by the radar of the British ship HMS Venom while floating on the sea, and was quickly sunk by this warship. Not long after, then the 99 also broken, and the captured crew. The German Navy lost 3 famous captains. Is Krashmar Prince and Schepper only in March. Admiral Dunisch. Faced with this situation, he ordered the submarine to be sent further west away of the Battle of the Merchant Ships, before the escort from England could arrive to escort. This strategy was effective at first, when the merchant convoy SC-26 was ambushed, with 10 ships sunk. When the RA escort arrived, they had only shot down 1 plane. In May 1941, the German army boldly launched the Heilebong campaign. Deliver the newly built Bismarck and the Prince cruiser. Eigen RA attacks supply trains. British Navy defeated. The British warship HMS Luge was sunk. Of the more than 1,410 sailors, only BA survived. The Prince of World also had to retreat due to moderate damage. On the other side, the Bismarck was hit by your torpedo. Damaged the rudder so cannot go fast. 3/5 Bismarck was sunk by British naval fleet. Only 110 of the 2,300 sailors on the Bismarck, only 1 survived. After this great loss, the German Navy has discontinued its strategy of intercepting merchant ships by warship on the sea. Nine-fifths destroyer HMS Bulldog catches U-boat 1 and 1 and confiscated the Enigma cipher machine, a machine with a rotating disk system used to create passwords and decode confidential information and code records, thanks to which the decoding of the Enigma machine has taken a rather important step forward. British Navy and intelligence gradually guessed many plans, secret German operations. May 21. U.S. ship SS Robin Mall intercepted by the German submarine U-69. After allowing U.S. sailors and passengers 30 minutes to get all the way up to the lifeboats, the Germans sank this cargo ship. People sitting on small boats drifting for 18 days. Newly found and rescued. This shocking news caused turmoil in the aviation industry, United States Navy, and the fear of being sunk by a submarine skyrocketed. June 1941. The British Navy has decided to change its escort plans. Canadian Navy, commanded by Admiral Leonard Merry, entrusted with the responsibility escort the western part of the route from North America to New Zealand. Here the British Navy will dispatch armed ships departing from the port of Liverpool to conduct the escort. The fleet passed through the remaining route to England. Off-duty escort in the North Atlantic. The United States is also concerned about unescorted convoys from South America to England. Some studies and scientific inventions in anti-ship technology underground now discovered by Min, but still primitive, slow and inaccurate. So he had to ask American experts improve these inventions. Since 1942, Germany predicted that the Allies would land in France from the British coast. Should try to attack the supply ships. No, let me join forces. February 1942. British Navy extremely embarrassed. because they could not catch up with the German warships, is Sunburst Gneisenau and Prince Eugen. On the escape route to Germany. After losing the Bismarck, plus the fear of 1 million Allied attacks, according to Norway, il a décidé temporarily withdraw many warships from the battlefield. Atlantic. Plan Z of the German Navy in the Atlantic theater, including strong naval force equipment, enough to destroy the escort ship, simultaneously destroying all access to him. The plan failed, because Germany had not yet built enough naval firepower. Then war broke out. As a result, the number of British ships destroyed by Germany not high compared to the loss of mines and aircraft. However, the interception of the transatlantic trade also caused a lot of trouble for him, and major import level drop a lot. Aircraft technology developed strongly during this time, but the Atlantic Ocean is too large. Cannot use aircraft to control everything. A temporary solution was to equip merchant ships, rocket launchers. Above is a light fighter plane, Hawk or Hurricane. Merchant ships capable of launching aircraft are called aircraft carriers. Orange. English is. When seeing German planes coming to attack, the plane followed the rocket launch into the war. After completing the mission, if too far from land and there is no landing place, the pilot had to parachute and let the plane crash. This aircraft launching technique is used at least 9 times. Penelia, 8 German aircraft and 1 Allied pilot were killed. The German Air Force was slowly being overtaken by the Royal Air Force. He and the merchant ship launched planes to push them out of the battle. The war lasted nearly 6 years from September 1939 to May 1945. Caused the Allies to have about 72,200 sailors died, 3,500 transport ships damaged, 107 rank, more than 740 British Air Force aircraft, and hundreds of pilots, not to mention the loss of the US Air Force. In the opposite direction, Nazi Navy, a total of 28,000 submarine crew were lost, and thousands of sailors on board, with more than 780 submarines sunk. Nearly 50 warships of various types were sunk. The Italian Navy also lost about 500 sailors, and nearly 20 submarines. When the war ended in May 1945, 156 German submarines surrendered to the Allies. 2 ships escaped to Argentina. 221 other submarines are still in good working order. Was scuttled by German sailors. There are a total of 13 submarine models built by Germany, developed during World War II, of which 11 models have good usability and fought in the war. The remaining 2 models have not been completed before the war ended. In the Battle of the Atlantic, called the Naval Campaign, longest, largest, and most complex in history, it has been one of the fronts, the most important of the war. Success in the Atlantic is very meaningful for the Allies. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill later wrote, "The only thing that really scares me during World War II is the German submarine threat, named New Boat. I even more worried about this war compared to the air battle in 1940 in the sky of England." If you find this video helpful, please share and give it a like. On screen are some cool videos. Other for you. Please select and click on it to continue enjoying. JS Go hello. And see you in the next videos.